Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com nightly update show. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. If you are trading today and you were prepared for the day, you know what happened, right? You know what happened. We'll get to that in a second. Guys, kindly do me a favor. Click a like on the channel, share, subscribe, show support. I try to do this as unbiased as possible. Again, like I said in the weekend video, I don't know what's going to happen next Thursday, but I'm preparing for the next day. And, you know, we knew kind of what we had in store going into Monday's session. I mean, look at the data. Last week, 2.5% decline on the S&P and the NASDAQ in one candle. Last week on Friday's reversal, data, this, that, potato. It took out 5 days. It took out 5 days worth of buying. Obviously, that's a big red flag. And if you were an avid viewer of this channel, and some of you guys have been with us for, 16 years, right? Some of you guys have been with me here for 16 minutes. But the one thing we always talk about, and I'm sure this is not the first thing, first time you hear this, but anytime you have technical damage, right? And technical damage is engulfing 5 days worth of buying. The last thing you want to do, okay? I don't care what God you pray to. If they tap you on the shoulder, the last thing you want to do is buy a gap up the next day. Tell me if you heard this before. I've only said it 3,000 times in the last 16 years. And this morning when you woke up, futures are green. NASDAQ futures are up 100 points. And I tweeted out on Sunday night, right? On Sunday night, you can go on my regular Twitter account. And I said, the last thing you want to do is buy a gap up, because what you're doing is you're buying a stock into its 60-minute supply or its daily supply where it broke down the night before. Okay. And unfortunately, a lot of times you'll have traders like, yeah, whatever, right? Whatever. And the problem with that is stocks did open up into supply. So anybody who got long anything pre-market, literally anything pre-market, got absolutely destroyed. It was one of the most aggressive. It felt like a headshot, man. It really felt like a headshot. You just watched, you ever seen just one of these movies like Sniper? You ever seen that movie Sniper? I forgot what's the guy's name, Bradley Cooper. And he just shot, you see his bodies fall. That's exactly what happened today. Anybody who got long pre-market at the open, the body just absolutely dropped. And we started talking about over the weekend update is risk is on until we lose the 50-day moving average. Guys, we lost the 50-day moving average. We talked about that 523 number on the weekend video. We closed below that number. No joke, if you go through it, and every single trader should do this, I don't care what your experience level is, every single night you should be charting. But if you go through your charts, and I don't care if it's small caps, mid caps, large caps, mega caps, the amount of stocks that are about to lose or already lost their 200-day, 50-day moving average is astronomical, is absolutely astronomical. I could have legit, no joke, put 200 stocks on the watch list for tomorrow. Obviously, it's counterproductive. So I'm trying to go with the highest probability stocks that are coming off their highs, intermediate lows, or losing their earnings lows. And I'll give you guys a whole bunch of names that I am watching for tomorrow. So market did engulf, last week's buying. Today it engulfed another week worth of buying. You can see all these candles, guys, they got engulfed. And this is now the first close below the 50-day moving average. Look, the bull's job now is to desperately get back above the 50-day moving average. The last time we lost it, bulls actually did a good job. Last time we lost it, the Qs went from 509 to about 499 in 3 sessions, right? So that's $10. Really not the big of a deal. The bulls held this whole rising support and we rallied. Now, the question is, well, do we test back that rising support? And that rising support is all the way down to like that 511, 512 area to be determined, right? But on the surface, it looks pretty bad, right? It looks pretty bad. If you trade both sides of the market, you saw today one of the most aggressive sell-offs at the open. It didn't make a difference. Again, we had some amazing pivots. It did not make a difference what you shorted today. As long as it lost the previous day's range, it got smashed, right? Smashed. We talked about coin over the weekend update, right? Coin got murdered. MSTR, we talked about over the weekend update, got murdered. Meta, losing the 20-day support, Meta got murdered. Tesla, I mean, what are you going to say? Tesla was awesome, right? Awesome. I came in with a runner. It was down like $6, $7 pre-market, covered it up. Then some news came out of China, self-driving cars. And I was like, really? People are buying this news on self-driving? All right, cool. 5 minutes later at the open, this thing goes red in a day. We talked about over the weekend update. There's a shot this thing could see 325. Guys, look at the low of the day. The low of the day is 324.70, which now is setting up to be a massive, massive line in the sand, right? If you look at today's low, and if you look at the low from 211, which basically was, 3 weeks ago, it's setting up for a huge macro channel. And the longer this area, this 150-day moving average, if it starts creeping above, and again, it doesn't have to happen tomorrow, it doesn't have to happen next week, it doesn't have to happen at all. But at least now you really, really have to watch that level. If you didn't watch the broadcast and said, oh yeah, damn, whatever, losing the 50-day moving average at 373, not a big deal. It doesn't make a difference if it loses the 65-day at 374, not a big deal. This is going to be a big deal, right? This is going to be a big deal here. And if this thing ever falls, right, if this whole range here falls, and now the longer it builds the base, the better potential it'll be. If this thing can fall, you got a lot of room down, guys. You got really, really a lot of room down. So set an alert. Again, doesn't need to happen today. Doesn't need to happen tomorrow. Hell, doesn't need to happen. But if it does pierce and closes, especially below the February lows, there's a lot of room going down. And Tesla, Amazon continues to be an absolute dumpster fire. Right. This is what happened. It lost the 50-day moving average. This thing this thing is literally one more day away to getting back to the 150-day moving average at 207. Again, just an absolute dumpster fire. You got AMD, which is now, setting up for these earnings lows that I'm going to watch in the next couple of days. But guys, look at the sheer amount of names underneath supply. You got Qualcomm, right? Qualcomm got massacred. Lost the 50-day moving average today. Look at Marvel, right? Look at Marvel. A lot of these semis, man. Marvel lost the range going back to January 27th. Microsoft just murdered, man. This is just one after another, all right? This is now the lowest close in this whole formation here. So you have so many names that look just absolutely disgusting. And eventually, again, like we talked about on the weekend video, this is not an investor's channel. And you hear people all the time, well, that's the low, that's the low, that's the low. Here, tell me if you heard this before. That's the low. And listen, eventually it will be the low, right? Do you want to be right? Do you want to make money? Do you want to be right? Do you want to trade both sides of the market? Do you want to be right? Or do you want to be solid? Like, what do you want to do? Right now, our job as professional traders, and all you guys are professional traders. You might not think so. You might not, you might not gauge that way. But as soon as you put down your money, right? As soon as you put your bet is as good as anybody's bet on the planet, okay? So you're a professional trader. So your job right now, underneath the 50-day moving average on the QQQs, is not trying to find the one stock that's standing out. Your job is to find the 10,000 stocks that are not, right? Read the room, man. Read the room. Again, the easiest thing to do is try to find the one stock that's moving. Yeah, you want to see the one stock that's moving? Look at this, right? Here. You want a name that actually looks pretty damn good? Look at Disney, right? Disney is below the 50-day moving average. This is literally one of the very few names that actually looks pretty good. Disney's below the 50-day. Does it confirm tomorrow? Does it confirm the next day? Does it not confirm? I don't know. But at least if you're going to be long something above the 50-day. So this thing is not confirmed the 50-day yet, but this should be something on your radar, especially if you are a long bias trader. This is something you definitely want to watch. So again, first close below The 50-day moving average on the QQQs. I have 10,000 stocks to watch tomorrow. I'm joking. I'm only going to watch like 5 or 6 just because those are 5 or 6 that I trade. But if you are doing your due diligence, you can find a plethora, right? An absolute plethora of amazing opportunities for the small, mid-cap, large cap and mega cap space that could fall into your lap. So let's talk about today's pivots, right? So again, here was the pivot on Friday. This is the start of it all. 347.50. If it builds below, can flush. Obviously, Tesla flushed and went all the way down to 334.40, right? That was Friday's lows. So here's the notes. Here's the pre-market notes for all you guys who came in short with me. We had a runner on Tesla over the weekend. I said, hey guys, cover the damn thing. So I made a cover, great covers. We got some great covers. And then it started bouncing on the Chinese news. I go, look, if this thing goes red later and confirms 334.40s, it could bring in more selling. Not only brought in more selling, guys, this thing would drop $12 to the bottom of last month's range. So again, I am definitely watching Tesla. It doesn't have to be tomorrow or the next day, but I'm well aware of that channel now. And it's something that I will be clicking a mouse with extreme prejudice if indeed it ever confirms. AMD, we talked about AMD, 110.43 if it builds below, can flush. Here was AMD. AMD closed at the lows of the day. All it needs now is to take out the earnings lows and you should start another leg down. So keep an eye on that. Coinbase got slammed. This was actually my first trade of the day. Coinbase got slammed. 234.76 is the 200-day. So if you thought the 50-day moving average was important, this was the 200-day moving average. If it confirms Friday's channel, it can get hit more. 5-star. Here is Coinbase. It took out this whole channel, right? We talked about this over the weekend. Took out this whole channel, traded all the way down to this linear regression line. That's the only reason why it stopped. This is the first close now below the 200-day moving average. I still think this thing has more downside. If this thing starts losing today's lows in the next couple of days, this thing has more room down. And speaking of which, folks, for all you guys who are trading BTC, right, Bitcoin, watch that. It's not really my thing, but I just know the level. Watch that 89,000 level. I know it's not anywhere near right now. It's like 94, 95,000, 93,000 last time I checked. But if it ever starts losing that 89,000 area, man, these things are going to really start getting hit. So keep an eye on that. So Coinbase was really good. MSTR got murdered. 299 if it builds below, can flush, right? Here was MSTR. Put in a $20 candle. It took out this whole range here, 299, 285. Again, traded down to the 150-day moving average at 276. Just an absolute huge move, almost 25-point candle. Meta got killed, right? Here was the pivot on Friday, 693.60. If it builds below, can flush. Here is the pivot from today. If it confirms 682.36, it can sell more. Here was Meta, right? It just one after another. Again, guys, you can go through 1,000 names. You'll get the same results on 1,000 names. But again, your game plan could only be filtered out to X amount of names. And the last one was SMCI, right? SMCI, 53 is daily support. If it builds below, can flush, right? And here is SMCI. Took out this 53, got below this whole supply and stopped at the 10-day moving average, roughly around $50. This thing loses $50, folks. And if this thing loses the 10-day moving average, there's a lot of room down as well. So again, folks, I take no pleasure, right? I take no pleasure, speaking to investors and they're worried and this, that, and the third. But guys, again, there's two things you need to have, right? You need to have thick skin in this business. You need to have a sense of humor. More important is you need to understand the market trades on both sides, right? The market will trade up. The market will trade down. It's your choice, right? It's your choice of being an adult market participant, okay? Of sitting there and saying to yourself, do I want to buy stock in a bull market, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with, right? That's your priority. It's your dime. It's your dance floor. You're all adults. But if you want to trade both sides of the market and be a trader, then you have to utilize all the opportunities you have on both sides of the tape. The question is now, can the bulls reclaim back the 50-day moving average? You hear this on social media. Well, NVIDIA is the last one. NVIDIA is the last one. NVIDIA can save us. Guys, NVIDIA got murdered today. right? NVIDIA got murdered today. It sliced through the 50-day moving average like it wasn't even there, right? End of the week, they have earnings. I don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to go to 150 on earnings? Is it going to go to 120 on earnings? Your guess is as good as mine, but don't think that one stock is going to save the market. It's very, very important that a unified effort starts kind of selling off bad news, right? Buying off bad news, negating bad headlines, and start waking this way back to the 50-day. Guys, God bless everybody. We have a lot of good things on deck tomorrow. I'm hoping that the market gaps up a little bit, kind of like we did today. The most important part, like I say this all the time, when there's technical damage, folks, again, the last thing you want to do is buy strength. Folks, have a great night, everybody. God bless. Stay safe. And with God's help, I'll see you all tomorrow.